The night was dark and stormy. I had decided to spend a weekend in my grandparents' old cabin in the woods, hoping to reconnect with nature and escape the stress of the city. I had always loved the cabin as a kid, but I hadn't been there in years. My grandparents had passed away a long time ago, and the cabin had been left abandoned and neglected. I arrived at the cabin in the afternoon, after a long drive and a short hike. The cabin looked old and worn, but still cozy and inviting. I unlocked the door and entered, feeling a wave of nostalgia wash over me. I explored the cabin, finding familiar objects and memories. I saw the fireplace where we used to roast marshmallows, the rocking chair where my grandma used to read me stories, the kitchen where my grandpa used to cook his famous pancakes. I felt a warm and fuzzy feeling in my chest, as if my grandparents were still there with me. I decided to make myself comfortable and spend the night in the cabin. I lit a fire in the fireplace, cooked some dinner, and read a book. I felt relaxed and peaceful, enjoying the silence and solitude. I decided to go to bed early, since I was tired from the hike. I chose the bedroom that used to be my grandparents', feeling a bit guilty for invading their privacy, but also curious to see how it looked. I opened the door and saw a simple but cozy room with a large bed, a dresser, a closet, and a window. I noticed a framed photo on the nightstand, showing my grandparents smiling and holding hands. They looked so happy and in love. I felt a pang of sadness, wishing they were still alive. I put the photo back and got into bed, pulling the covers over me. I closed my eyes and tried to fall asleep, but I couldn't. I felt restless and uneasy, as if something was wrong. I tossed and turned, trying to find a comfortable position, but I couldn't. I felt a strange presence in the room, as if someone was watching me. I opened my eyes and looked around, but I saw nothing. I thought it was just my imagination playing tricks on me. But then I heard my name being whispered in my ear. I froze, terrified. The whisper grew louder, more insistent. It sounded like a woman's voice, but not my grandma's. It sounded angry and menacing, as if it hated me. "Who are you?" I whispered, trying to sound brave but failing. "You don't belong here," the voice hissed. "This is my cabin, my husband, my life. You stole everything from me. You ruined everything. You have to pay." I felt a chill run down my spine as I realized who the voice could belong to. It was my grandpa's first wife, the one who had died in a car accident before he met my grandma, the one who had been buried in the woods, near the cabin, the one who had never left. I had only heard stories about her, but I was almost sure that it was her. I felt a surge of panic as I realized I was in danger. I tried to get out of bed, but I couldn't. Suddenly, the room went ice cold, and I felt a heavy weight on my chest. I couldn't breathe. I tried to scream, but my voice was stuck in my throat. I felt a pair of cold, bony hands wrap around my neck, squeezing hard. I felt the life draining out of me as I saw a pair of hateful, glowing eyes staring into mine. Just as suddenly, everything stopped. The presence vanished, and I could breathe again. I gasped for air, coughing and choking. I heard the commanding, robust voice of an elderly man, urgently telling me, "Run." I felt a rush of adrenaline as I jumped out of bed and ran out of the room. I grabbed my keys and my phone and ran out of the cabin. I didn't bother to lock the door or to pack my things. I just wanted to get away from that place as fast as I could. I ran to my car, which was parked a few meters away from the cabin. I got in and started the engine, hoping it would work. It did, and I drove away, not looking back. I drove until I reached the nearest town, where I checked into a motel. I called my parents and told them what had happened, begging them to believe me. They did, and they told me to stay calm and wait for them. They said they would come and get me the next day. I spent the night in the motel, feeling shaken and traumatized. I couldn't sleep or stop thinking about what had happened. I wondered why the ghost of my grandpa's first wife had attacked me and what she wanted. I wondered if she had ever attacked my grandparents or anyone else who had stayed in the cabin. I wondered if she was still there, waiting for me to come back. I wondered if I would ever be able to forget that night. I'll never forget that night. I never went back to that cabin, but I want to. To this day, I can't explain what happened, but I know it was something paranormal, something related to my grandparents. I want to know the history behind it, and I will find the truth.